keep in mind that there are people who may have said or may have made the argument that these drugs are helping me and that's why my presentation has changed. I make the warrior videos to remind you that I have self-control and I haven't changed the way I feel and the way that I see things. The drugs are not quote-unquote helping me. They are provoking me to anger. They're provoking me to rage, and they do not help. I can direct you to videos in the past I've made, all throughout this gang stalking and before the covert drugging, that where I'm off medication, where I'm acting in a way similar to the way I'm acting right now. Okay. Now, in the later videos, I'll talk about natural intelligence or natural talent, and this has to do with people who are skilled at one thing or another. People who can do complex calculations in their minds, so on. And at least it does not seem that they have cultivated this talent, more than just some uncanny ability to perform the tasks, or to perform this talent. So, yes, there is natural talent, but everyone's gifted. You can't just say, well, this person is better than this person because he can calculate big numbers in his head. Whoop-de-doo. To people who appreciate that, to people who are into math and what have you, yes, I'm sure they will see it that way. But there are many forms of intelligence. So to say that we're going to have an intelligent quotient or an IQ test and determine who is more fit to live than who else, absolute nonsense. You can't really quantify such a thing. You can't really calculate something such as intelligence. And it's very subjective and it's very biased. Which leads me to my next point. I can make an artificial environment where pedophiles are the most fit to live, but that means nothing. Only natural environments prove superiority. So in nature, someone such as myself is superior to all the people you look up to. So their idea of using natural selection to determine which people are more fit to live and setting up an artificial ecosystem, an artificial environment for artificial selection, as I've gone over many times, is a sick joke. These dogs are inferior, and cheating is not a desirable human trait, even if you look at it from their pseudoscientific eugenic scale minus the satanic philosophy. Now, what they've been doing this whole time, and I've been pointing it out quite precisely. Their goal is to induce the symptoms of one or more mental illnesses, damage my brain, soft kill me, and get me to do a violent act to bring in their mental health gun control agenda, just like you see on TV, using mind control and propaganda, forms of mind control, mass mind control, propaganda, media influence, and so on. Of course, they have little secondary goals, such as, if that doesn't work, we'll get him to commit suicide, or, isolate him, economic sabotage, mess with his head, and so on, and what have you. See, part of how they are harassing me is by subtly, and also not so subtly, implying that if I change the way I think, or say things, or start to say things in a way that makes them want to help, they will help. Evil and pathetic. And it also sets the stage for people such as myself to treat them any way we see fit once we gain the upper hand. Them and all the lowly dogs who see it that way. So, and so they know that I'm not going to accept this. So it's a form of harassment. It's like, well, if you do this, it'll make it easier on you. There are people who will break under torture. And there's people such as myself that once we truly have made up our mind, there's no way around it. When I've made up my mind that this is the appropriate way to go and there is no logical way to justify it otherwise, it really doesn't matter what you do. You can, torture me in the most horrible ways imaginable. electrodes in my penis, you know, hang me upside down, you know, whip me. I mean, it's not going to change anything. So anyway, they spend a lot of time trying to say someone else is smarter or more fit to live, or that they magically they or someone else can beat me, even though, you know, with the $3,000 challenge, it is beyond laughable if you would believe something as absurd as that. They also try to pretend there's something wrong with me and try to find any way they can to say that psychiatry helps people more than harms people, or has magically helped me more than it has harmed me, which is just as laughable. So the next videos will reflect a lot of these things and prove beyond any doubt, with the help of visual aids, that they are childish with the typical traits of a child. In a very annoyed manner, I will prove this, since I made them in the middle of the night, you know, 3:30 in the morning, is what have you, having awoke with a drug-induced headache from their covert drugs. And one last thing I want to explore in this video instead. They say, well, you're no one to judge me. Well, it's an interesting idea. A pedophile could make that argument in court. You know, well, you're no one to judge me. I'm not a judge. I'm not God. But it doesn't take either of those things to see you for what you are. For what you really are. Pathetic. Inferior. Sick. You know, it is a bunch of sick people in society with complexes who are upset about righteous people persecuting lowly forms of filth such as themselves, you know, such as them, similar to them. So they've gotten together and they're persecuting the righteous, trying to screen us out. It's very sad. It's very sick. It's really unacceptable. And these people are the type of scum who say things, I've accomplished, you know, like, quote unquote, I've accomplished something that my ancestors never dreamed of, and we got the rabble under control, and these Christians aren't going to get in the way of our fun, and, you know, disgusting, disgusting things such as these. And don't forget their attempts to blackmail me after they sexually assaulted me when I was covertly drugged. You know, females, males, doing horrible things to me. Don't forget their ability to superimpose pictures and, you know, edit videos in a way that makes things seem like what they aren't. And we see this time and time again, even with amateur people who are only slightly familiar with software, superimposing pictures. We see rappers even doing it, putting other rappers' faces on strippers and dogs and what have you. So yes, you know, they will use very immature tactics to try to achieve their aims, their goals. And you must, you know, you must see the truth always. It's like I've said many times, it doesn't matter what kind of character you believe I have. You know, the things that I say reign true. The person that I tell you I am is the type of person you should want to be, even if you don't believe that I'm that person. But I assure you I am, but really, it's irrelevant. It's pretty much like the Bible. You know, look at the morals and the principles in the Bible. Whether or not you believe everything is literal, you know, doesn't really matter. You know, some things they say flat out are visions, revelation, you know. But it's the morals, it's the principles, it's the lessons that you need to learn. So, you know, they can resort to all kinds of fancy, you know, technological bitch shit, you know, fairy host shit. It doesn't change the fact. You know, and so on that note, because of it being at night, because of the great points I make in the video, because it's very authentic and it's on the moment, and that's how I always go for authentic. This is who I am. I'm not putting on an act and so on. I've decided I'm going to add those videos to this part of the series. A lot of it is telling the spiritual bottom feeders how I feel about them, talking about why Western culture is inferior, and so on and so forth. And so why they attempt to use terrorists to demonize these perspectives. You know, it doesn't matter who says truth. Truth is truth. You know, your enemy can say truth. The devil can say truth. You have to see the lies, but see the truth. Yes, Western culture is inferior. Yes, Western culture is blasphemy according to even other subcultures, religious cultures within Western culture, such as Christianity. And you could say this Middle Eastern culture, but it's been adopted and stylized and made to fit into mainstream Western culture for a long, long time. And now we see they are attempting to, push it away, cause its demise. So, yes. And I thought I might just explore this too. In the news, it came out that a bunch of Arabs, like 1,000 Arab or North African-looking people in Germany, sexually assaulted a bunch of women and raped one. And so when I say sexually assaulted me, I mean really they, almost certainly raped me, not just sexually assaulted me. But anyway, and so it really is the problem solution. It's filling out society. They're going to bring in their new world order, no matter how you look at it. If they have to make a bunch of separatist countries that hate each other and divide and conquer that way, fine. If they have to bring in chaos with multiculturalism that's not applied properly, fine. They don't really care as long as at the end of the day they're in control. It goes back to what they say, give me control of a nation's money or a nation's capital, and I care not who makes laws. Okay, they don't care if there's multicultural laws or separatist laws. It's the Jew-white paradigm. A man of honor does what is right. He doesn't just consider what his people would make his people feel good or what would give his people the upper hand. He does what is right. Thank you.